Sup gamers, tinfoil hat Terry here, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. We got our tinfoil hat on because we're going to be talking about some Pokemon rumors, theories, speculation, leaks, all that sort of stuff that you guys are used to. So let's get started right off the bat. First things first, going to be this post right here. Now this post is coming to us from the lovely website of 4chan, where they have posted something interesting. Now, what is the actual discussion about? Well, they say that they have a rumor. Apparently, Meganium, Emboar, and Feraligatr have only regional forms. Now, I will disagree with this right off the bat. I do not think we're going to see many regional forms because it just doesn't make any sense in this game to have regional forms. Just the optics of it doesn't make any sense. Why would we have regional forms when this game is specifically pushing for megas, and this game is set seemingly, at least based on what we can tell, it's set like shortly after the events of X and Y, like a few years after. And there's no way that in just like 15 years that the environment would change a set of Pokemon so drastically, because the whole reason that regional forms exist is that they adapted to a new environment. And also Mega is like the big feature of this game. We've seen 0 Megas so far. I'm pretty sure they're going to focus far more on Megas, and it makes way more sense for these Pokemon to get Megas. Now some people might argue, oh, but they gave regional forms to the previous ones. Well, yeah, but also, you know what they did with the previous starters? They gave us one from different regions. Now they give us 2 from a singular region. So what I'm trying to say is, just because they did something in the past does not mean they have to do it again, is the biggest thing. So personally, I instantly from this rumor, from the get-go, I'm a little bit sketched out. But again, anything is possible. So let's take a look at the rest of it. We continue, and it says apparently that Feraligatr, Emboar, and Meganium have only regional forms. Grass Fairy, Perfume theme for Meganium, which is fair. I can see how that would make sense. The next one, Fire Steel Chef, and a Water Dragon monster, respectively, for the other two, which again, sounds reasonable, I will say that. Then I say that Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja have Mega Evolutions, same types. Okay, so this actually would be fair if you'd want to argue that maybe the actual starters, the regular starters for this game, like, you know, Totodile, Chikorita, and Tepig, that those three would specifically get their hands on, you know, a regional form, whereas like the original starters of Kalos would instead get Megas. That would make a lot of sense as well. Fair. I think that all 6 of these Pokemon, whoopsie, I guess the tinfoil hat decided to fall off because we're getting too deep. But I do think personally, though, that it's going to make a lot of sense for us to actually get ourselves Megas for all 6 of these Pokemon. I think that would make far more sense than regional forms. But again, anything is possible. They go on then to say that there's no Mega Charizard Z or Mega Mewtwo Z. No new evolution, only Mega Sylveon. That would be wild, though, if they gave a Mega to Sylveon, but not to any of the other ones. That'd be a little bit... Ooh, that would piss some people off, I'm pretty sure. That would piss a lot of people off, actually, if you really think about it. But it is what it is. I'm not going to judge it. The next thing, though, they say, is apparently a regional Rockruff with a Psychic Ghost type evolving into a White Wolf or a Black Wolf. Also, the image they include is a gargoyle, by the way. AZ uses it in battle. Uses in the battle the White Wolf. So we've already had wolf Pokemon in the past, but having a white and a black one, and then Psychic Ghost type for both of them being like, since they're, you know, the like regional evolutions of Rockruff. I don't know, man. I mean, they could work. They could work. I can see that being a thing. Druddigon evolution into Gargoyle. Okay, that would be interesting. It actually kind of makes sense of it in terms of its design. And then finally, Mega Raichu, Mega Nidoking, Mega Talonflame, and Mega Lurantis. Interesting that you wouldn't mention the Zygarde, Zeraora that are already confirmed, or mention like some other more obvious ones like Flygon? I feel like Flygon's definitely going to get one. Like that's one of those Pokemon that, you know, you'd put on the list. But again, we'll have to wait and actually see if they end up or how they end up doing it. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Either way, that's the first part. Let's move on to the next thing. It's going to be this post by Roisy. Now, this is Rasen Roisy over on Twitter. It's a PokeTuber/streamer who says, I'm surprised nobody mentioned it, but Pokemon Legends EA might actually have a day-and-night focus. Yes, a day-and-night cycle. So a day-and-night cycle makes total sense for this game. It's a smaller scale, so it's easier to balance. Because if you may notice from this game, if you look at the actual like website of the map of this game, and if you've seen the trailers, you may be aware of the fact that if you really pay attention, they clearly make a big point about you being able to go onto the roofs, right? right? Like if you look at the city, like it's of course divided into a lot of sections, right? Like you got the blue section, you got the green section, you've got the yellow section, you got the kind of pinkish, and then the red section, right? So all these roofs are roofs you can go onto. You can even just like zoom in. You can actually inspect that almost all the roofs are actually explorable to at least some level. At least all the ones that have like a bit of gray on them or like a proper color. Like some of them might be like, some areas might be a little bit harder to get onto or whatever, or impossible to get onto. But generally speaking, what this adds is another level of exploration, right? But it's still way less. This is still just a singular city as opposed to any other Pokemon game we've ever had. Any mainline Pokemon game usually takes place in an entire region. And then you have to plan out a lot of stuff like specific Pokemon like spawns, and you have to plan out like, a lot more biomes and stuff. This is only a singular biome. So the only other way to make this place feel more interesting is by doing 3 possible things. Either option A, make those rooftops intriguing enough that you have to go on the roofs to get certain Pokemon, exploration and stuff like that. 2, add an underground. There is, of course, a real underground. The catacombs of Paris are a real thing that goes deep beneath the city and goes far all around the city of Paris, which is a real thing that they have already hinted in Pokemon X and Y. They already had references to it. And like even some of the caves, like there's literally, I think Team Flare is chilling underneath the city of Lumiose in X and Y. So tunnels have already been present in previous games, so you can already assume there probably will be some level of tunnels down here for us to go down and explore, and that's the areas where you could include special biomes, like different biomes, like, mountains, icy areas, whatever you want to call it. Shit like that we'll be able to include it in that kind of space, which would be really nice. So the question then becomes, right, what's another element they can do? It's the third one. Day and night cycle. They can make it so that the nighttime genuinely feels different enough from the daytime. They can give the night cycle an interesting twist where it's genuinely going to be different when we go and explore it, right? Like you guys can actually see this little icon on the top here. If my camera's showing it, you guys can see on the top there's a little icon for a sunlight. And then over here, you can see that it's kind of like, like you got a little shift that's happening. But point is, like, the day and night is going to change probably in this game. There's going to be a day and night cycle. We even get to see at the end of the trailer, of course, the little weird hint that they shown. That one actually seems to show us like being like, it's just nighttime. I mean, the light is kind of shining, so I guess maybe it's morning. So what they say here is, I'm surprised nobody mentioned it, but Pokemon Legends EA might have day-night focus. The map shows the length of the day, and it even pulses as it approaches night. The only part of the trailer that takes place at night is the ending sequence where we see a light glow. And with the next image seemingly being Lumiose Tower, which is probably what caused the window glow. And considering how there isn't a single shot of gameplay during the night, I wonder if night will focus on this battle promotion system. Hell, maybe even the overworld changes a bit, which is exactly what I mean. If they don't want to do an underground, if they don't want to do like, special biome locations which you go to or anywhere outside of Lumiose, if they want to avoid doing anything like that, the best way of actually including really anything to do with like, a change in environment would be nighttime. Change things up at night. Make everything at night a little bit different. And again, this is a promotion, a match announcement, and it's specifically at night, and it's about Lumiose Tower. Again, it's interesting. It's intriguing. There's so much that can be theorized about this, which of course we're going to talk about further in future videos and even on live streams, because we do weekly live streams right now. Doing weekly live streams to update you guys on everything that is happening. So feel free to check those out. Let's move on to the next thing. And while we're moving on, I'm just going to have myself a little bit of a drink, because the next thing we're going to take a look at is just something that I want to just quickly confirm as fake. Some people sent it my way, and I just want to make sure that you guys know that it's not an actual real leak. And it's going to be this image. Now, this image looks obviously like a mega, Embor, right? People see this and they think it's a real Mega. If I make it smaller, you can actually see sort of what it looks like, right? And here's the thing. It's not real. Just wanted to confirm it really quick. It's a design that was made by Bulby Boy, who says, OMG, the Pokemon Legends EA leaks are already started. And it's just a, picture he drew himself. I like these kind of posts. I think it's cool when people make their own 3D models and stuff. And he even made a 3D model rotation animation here, which is really sick. So please, give this a like, give this some love, because obviously it's not a real leak. I just thought it'd be important to mention it because some people have been sending it to me, assuming it is real, so I decided to look into it really quick. Especially now with all the stuff that's happening, it's just more worthwhile to make sure to check up on everything, because there's a lot of people posting stuff and a lot of 3D artists that are making a lot of cool fakes. But let's move on to the next subject. It's going to be this right here. Now, this is a post by Kuro who says that there's something interesting inside of Quasartico. Now, Quasartico, of course, is the organization that's actually committed to the entire sort of reconstruction of Lumio City, right? Like, they're the ones who actually are, like, you know, redeveloping the city. Well, here's the thing. If you look inside of their building, and actually even outside, you may notice they have an interesting design. First of all, the entire building's got this weird, like, kind of like weird sort of futuristic vibe, but they also have palm trees outside. On the inside, there's also a lot of greenery, a lot of palm trees, which seems to kind of indicate that this may have some relation, this company may have some relation to the Ether Foundation, of course, from Sun and Moon, which possibly could make sense given that there is some odd correlation between some of the characters. Like, there's some odd similarities between them, which can be found if you look at, like, you look deeper into it. Example of that being right here from Light saying, Jet hopes to deepen the bonds between people and Pokemon. Colress's goal is to discover the true way to draw out the strength of Pokemon. Both want to know more about Mega Evolution and also have the same looking hair, which, yes, there is a similarity in there. And not just that, if you look at Colress's like little design here, the little hair that sticks out, if we actually look at that and you go back to the actual logo, it looks a little bit like the Quasar logo in some sense. And same thing with her hairstyle. It's like they got a similar thing going on here, which is intriguing to say the least. But there's that. The next thing is going to be the following post we also saw, which is this one right here. This is from Squint. Now, Squint says that apparently, you guys may have also seen it, but look at this, right? You can actually invert the colors of the two main characters. I've mentioned this a few videos right now, but it's another interesting reason for, like, bringing it up is the fact that we don't even know the names of our main characters. So a lot of people are assuming that the actual main characters are also the rivals because they're the same people, technically. They're just the inverse of each other because you can literally see they've just reverted the colors, like inverted the colors on the two, and it fits perfectly. Like, it looks literally like accurate. It's crazy. It's actually crazy to even like look at. I don't even know how to tell you. It's incredible. But it's another point for like how there's a lot of details, a lot of minute details that you don't really think about that are just present in this kind of stuff that just makes the entire difference. So thought I would bring it up, mention it, see what you guys' thoughts and opinions are on that. And then let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be pretty much a theory about specifically what the Legends ZA part actually stands for, aka what is the A in Legends ZA's logo, right? Now, we've talked about this a lot of times, like many, many times. However, you guys may have also noticed that the A in the Legends ZA logo has an organic plant-like texture, which, yes, if you look deep on this logo, you may see, if I move myself over here, you may notice that there's a lot of, like, if you look over here, especially here, you may notice there's a lot of, like, these vines that are sort of going from the bottom up. That's exactly like, it looks like almost roots or veins of sorts that are going up. It gives a very, like, if you look at, like, a leaf, if you go outside right now, grab a leaf, and you look at it, you'll see that it has all the little strands that go through it. That's exactly the vibe here, which implies that either this could be, as they suggest here, is it possibly the ultimate weapon? Because it does kind of look like the ultimate weapon a little bit. Did you know that the ultimate weapon seen in Pokemon Generations episode 18 has a plant-like structure? Something's had me thinking that the ultimate weapon may have been a Pokemon all along, which is the biggest question here. Was the ultimate weapon all along an actual, you know, Pokemon? It would make a lot of sense if it was, and if so, will we see its presence in this game? Most likely, because this game is going to probably answer a lot of questions, because AZ is in the game, we know he's there, so he's going to probably answer a lot of our questions, but also give us new questions, and it's going to give us conclusions, and so many more things. So I want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions. What do you think the A in ZA actually is? And just let me know. Speaking of ZA, we of course have also the fact that it was noticed by Jordan that there's actually quite a few elements of Floette's design in the hotel decor. You better, you had better feel bad when you take her away from him, which, yeah, fair. But if you look at it, you'll actually notice that, yes, there is a lot of, like, you know, flowers and like a lot of the stuff in the actual design of the hotel, the ugly wallpaper design, actually has very much, like, Floette in it, or flowery, like, designs in it. Like, it's intriguing. It's fun to look at because you never really know where this could go. Like, or like, you know, like, you never really know where this Floette's going to end up. We're probably going to get it in some way. We'd assume so, right? Because people have been wanting this thing forever since it was basically mentioned / introduced. The question, though, is how are we going to receive it? Is AZ going to pass away? Because it seems like there's a lot of indications to seem to point towards the fact that he is actually aging now much faster or more drastically than in the past. And, you know, potentially his powers to stay alive and be immortal for so long have maybe dissipated after the entire events of X and Y. Again, it's a lot of questions, and we don't really know what the deal is, but we'll wait and see. The next thing, though, is going to be this right here. Now, this is really messed up. So I'm going to translate this and give you an explanation. Basically, Nintendo has increased the price of all Nintendo Switch games in Latin America starting today, in addition to prices for Nintendo Switch Online. For example, Pokemon Scarlet in Mexico goes from costing 1,199 Mexican, I think, pesos. I think they use pesos. I think it's Mexican pesos. To now being 1,399. Then in Chile, same thing. It's from 58,990 Chilean. Oh God, I don't know what the currency is. I'm so sorry. I don't know all the individual currencies for every country. But their prices got up to 69,990. Peru, it went from 229 to 269. Argentina from 57,000 to 69,000. Brazil from 299 to 349. Now you have to understand, okay, in these countries, the salary for some people is literally the same cost as one of these like products, right? Like just for example here, they're talking about Pokemon Scarlet, for example, being 1,399, but normally costing 1,199. Somebody's paycheck may only be like 1,500 or 2,000. I'm not saying everyone, obviously it's gonna be people who make more, but even people there have been complaining about the mere fact that like, this is ridiculous. It's almost like they're intentionally trying to get less people to buy products because there are some people that just don't make enough to buy some of these like games. Even worse now, like it's almost going to force some people to get into piracy and stuff like that, which I don't advocate for, but honestly, it may be the only option. Like, it's just how it is. Some people just will not be able to afford it. It's these costs. I mean, these costs are already insane. Even in like the part of the world that I'm in, costs are already insane, but at least like, you know, it's manageable. But if you already work with so little and then you're forced to pay even more, it is ridiculous. I really don't get why Nintendo is doing this all of a sudden. It's really weird timing as well because they just announced all the Latin American translations that are going to be in like Pokemon Legends EA. They're going to have like the Latin American languages, which by the way, they didn't include Brazilian Portuguese or Portuguese, like Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese. They didn't include that, which pissed a lot of people off, understandably, because you said you're going to do Latin America, then you skip over the biggest country in Latin America. Not saying that the other ones don't matter, but the other ones majority speak Spanish, you know, like as their main language, whereas the Brazilians primarily speak Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese. So it's a really weird situation right now. On one hand, they made one part of Latin America really happy by actually adding proper translations for Legends EA, but then Nintendo hits them with a massive price bump, like incredibly massive price bump. This is insane. This is practically like if tomorrow our prices went from 70, like literally, like somebody actually did a comparison. This is like if our dollar, like our actual cost of games, which is already up from like $50 to $60 to now it's like $70 you're paying for per game. It's almost even gone up to 80. But practically what happened here is like the price actually went from like 70 to 90. That's practically speaking what happened. And sorry, but if they start charging $100 per games, I'm gonna be real, man. I think a lot of people are gonna just not play games because $100 for a game is really a lot. Like the deluxe editions, all that bullshit, whatever. But like for a base game, that's becoming really bad. Which I don't know, man. It's really drastic, but we'll see if anything does come from it. The last thing we're gonna talk about is going to be the next thing, which is this right here. Now, this right here is interesting. So it's a theory, and I've already said this during stream as well, but the first thing they may notice with, of course, Vinny, the assistant to the brand new, like, Ether Foundation leader Jet that we're going to be interacting with, her assistant slash bodyguard slash whatever you want to call him, he looks oddly similar design-wise to someone else, aka Lysandre. They look oddly similar. They have oddly similar facial features, and there is seemingly an indication that they could be the same person. Or, as Kuro Blitz here, so shout out to my boy Kuro for saying AZ had a brother, so Vinny could be Lysandre's, which is pretty fair. Like, it's possible that Vinny is a brother or some relative of Lysandre. The same way, if you guys remember in Pokemon Sword and Shield, Rose actually had a brother that we discovered only later once the DLC Crown Tundra came out. So it's possible that this could be a brother or a relative of Lysandre's of some sort, some, you know, literally a brother or something like that, which if it's a brother, or even if it's Lysandre himself, would also imply that maybe, just maybe, this game is really set very close to X and Y, right? Not like too far into the distant future. And also what Miero here says is that this is completely digital. Yes, it is. However, Lysandre is immortal as of Pokemon X version. And if somebody were to dig him out, well, you know, anything could happen. Say someone like the head of a construction company doing excavation work in Kalos. So yes, Jet is the CEO of Quasartico Inc., a large corporation driving Lumiosa's urban redevelopment plan with the aim of shaping the city into one that belongs to both people and Pokemon. It seems she hopes to deepen the bonds between people and Pokemon. Yeah, so if she you know, if she'll go looking, she may find a certain guy. And if she finds a certain guy, she may, I'm just saying, anything's possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But yeah. Guys, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you guys all for watching. I'm going to see you guys again very soon. I'm going to be working on a Mega Evolution video, so I'll see you for that one. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.